Hello and welcome to another gameplay review on the Virkayu gameplay channel, and in this one, the first for Season 12, we're starting off with a Kindred game because... bounties. Yeah, a lot of people are freaking out about it, and there's no reason to freak out about it, because if you have a lead, you should still have no issue closing. It just gives teams who are behind for whatever reason, especially things outside of their control, a bit of a window back into the game, which means the onus on those of you who enjoy getting leads at 10 and 15 is going to be on closing. Now, as the week goes by and as we head into next week and the subsequent weeks, we will cover every jungler, every new rune, every new item, every new dragon. But given that it was kind of tough to find a good game with new dragons and always new items, I figured let's just find a good game. Season 12 meta. Let's see what the clears are doing. Let's see why they're doing what they're doing. And hopefully we can learn how to play and thrive in Season 12. And obviously overcome that which most of you are flaming about, which is, of course, bounties and new dragons. I love new dragons. I think bounties are fine. It means stomps are not really stomping. It also means, my friends, if you happen to be a great jungler and you get a lead and you manage to take 2 towers and a herald and the rest of your team are inting, you're helping, right? It's a bit of 1v9 carry as well, which you're not thinking about. So, Jungle Runes video. That's on the main channel. Runes were on your screen. Absolutely boring standard page. Ravenous, don't agree with it whatsoever. Definitely think we should have gone for the Relentless if you're going to go for that page. But roots are all on the main channel, just released literally just now. Had a few render issues, that's why this is a bit late as well. We are against the Graves. This is obviously huge. If you see the Graves kite this up, you know he's going topside. If you see him going down, you know he's going Krugs. We talked about, in that video, the pros and cons of 5 vs 6 camps. Now, 5 camps, as I've discussed quite a lot recently, just to make sure everyone's aware of it, plus a crab doesn't give you 4. So, it's almost like a little bit of a dead clear in that sense, because if someone does a 6 camp and meets you there, they're level 4, level 3, and in the video I just released, literally, Talon 6 clear, Kiana 5 camper, they meet in the river, Talon's like, why are we fighting? And the Kiana's like, because I want to, and then the Kiana kind of realizes, wait, I'm down a level, that's a level of stats, it's a Talon, and she runs away, and then she dies. So Kindred, what Kindred's doing, and what I think is definitely a lost art in terms of jungling, is dynamic short early paths, like the 4 campers. Now, you can either do what the Kindred is doing in this situation, which is, of course, blue side red, which is a classic clear. And if the enemy jungler happens to be doing a 5 camp or a 6 camp, you can abuse it. Now, obviously, that will be a little bit predicated on your ability to play the champion, play the matchup, and understand how it works. So Yone does rotate, that's very nice, thank you very much. Camille's there, Predator from the Twisted Fate, also he doesn't have to use his flash even, actually I thought he flashed, he didn't have to. So this is a great example of clear tempo and understanding how it works. Now, I don't think that Kindred fully paid attention to this, and Kindred, obviously with the 4 camp, I don't know, I think you can look to do 3 camp invades a little bit better. So yeah, I mean, Kindred dies on this invade, we respawn, we see the bottom mark. Now, every other jungler in the game can go, yeah, I don't really need that first crab, 80% reduced experience. Really, that second crab is what I want to set myself up for. Kindred has a mark attached to it. They really need to update the minigame. It does not work. It works, but it doesn't work at the same time. So I absolutely loved the idea there of a 4 camp invade. I think this is something huge. If someone is doing a 5 camp or 6 camp, and I talk about it in the roof video, try and abuse it, try and punish it. Now, you could always do red Raptors, Gromp, blue invade, which is also something that can be good on certain champions, like a Xin Chao, for example, like a Volibear, or simply a 3 camp in terms of your buff Raptors, Gromp invade, and you can fall back to your blue. There's a lot of variations for how Kindred could have played it. I think the timing there versus Graves wasn't opportune. And what you're going to see here is there's a lot of risk in ganking. There's no crap to fall back to. I mean, we're level 4 now. If you made this play before, you'd be, sorry, level 3. If you made this play in Season 11, you'd be level 4. And you don't feel as desperate, right? You feel kind of safe. Now, I'm seeing a lot of junglers, and fortunately, a lot of the roots I talked about in my, there we go. A lot of the roots I talked about in my video that I put up, I just saw in scouting today within the first 3-4 games. So I was happy with my brain's analysis when I did the voiceover. Of course, I did it yesterday before the patch dropped. But a lot of junglers are sitting in level 4 longer. A lot of junglers are sitting in level 3 longer. And it's very important to understand that when the jungler is behind an experience, and you're not going to get it necessarily back via farming, how do we get it? Ganks, pressure, kills, and by extension getting objectives, pushing waves. Pushing waves and soaking waves is going to be huge. So Kindred here, not the best pathing, not the most elegant, but look at this. Graves is still level 4. ladies and gentlemen. Kindred is still level 4. This is not common practice. This was not commonplace for most of Season 11, but if you're 4 camp and you didn't get things going, yeah, I mean, Warg mains, we know that this is how our life was sometimes, especially if we didn't get an early Tiamat. This mark just spawns, unfortunately. There's nothing we can do about it. Graves, good impact on the bottom side, and Kindred, you know, we'll take the 2 assists, basically. That's absolutely fine. Now, when this happens to you in this season, the Jungle Roots video, that will tell you what to do if things go well. This video, look at this. It's not going that well. We're feeling a little bit behind. A lot of you, in this case, will feel pressured, yeah? Be honest with yourself. In these situations, we all feel pressured. I'm level 4 at 6 minutes. Wow, what do I do? How do I get back in the game? Calm yourself, calm yourself. Graves was just seen bottom lane. Graves was just seen at the Raptors. Where's Graves going to be next? Logically, should be top side. Graves could also decide, they're going to expect it. Let me flex down to my Krugs, let me flex down to Dragon, let me flex down to bottom lane. However, we can logically assume Graves going to be the top side. So what you do is you simply relax, you sequence your camps up, observe top lane. If this is pushing, then we know Graves will gank it, so we can set up a counter gank. If not, if the Yone's chilling, then we can just simply reset. Nice little gank there by Galio. I got confused there for a second because we don't actually have an ADC, we have a Syndra bottom lane. Just career things. This is looking good. But yeah, it's delayed, definitely. Okay, I had to rewind. Kindred was in the air, I couldn't find them. So out of base to your tier 2 blue, and this should be mighty close, but still not quite there. This is what we're playing with. Now, this RNG crab is the big one, because this one is fat with a pH. This is the original juiced scuttle, but what's going to affect jungling a lot? Counter jungling, buff invade timing, and of course early action and ganks. So, in summary, if you're a Kindred player, someone who wants to snowball very heavily, you have 2 options. You do a shorter clear, look for an invade, look for a gank, and then of course you can fall back to the crab. It's not really that important. Now it's just a bit of experience. The focus is on, of course, lanes as well as your camps. Otherwise, simply full clear. Full clear, ladies and gentlemen. Get level 4 and use that experience and leverage it over enemy junglers who have unfortunate ganking patterns. Alternatively, bide your time until you get to this moment. This is what's big. Patience is going to be rewarded so heavily for those junglers who do not panic when they see their levels are not quite as high. And of course, as a reward, tasty snack. Can obviously go for the dragon at this point, but if you know, Galio's base, Twisted Fate's roaming down, Graves isn't really in the picture, but you know, you don't want to threaten throwing the lead that you have now. We don't really want to activate bounties either too soon, although it's not something I'm really going to think about. I'm going to give them bounties just by playing the game. You know, don't change the way you play the game because of bounties. Don't int for bounties and so on. This is just great action. I mean, you're seeing this is much more hyperactive, much more active in terms of lanes. Okay, we died. No tracking on the Graves. We hadn't seen him in a little bit. Good counter game from the Graves. And now basically he can translate that into objectives. But yeah, this is very interesting. I had quite a few games that I was looking at. But I wanted one where the jungler really carried the game, but didn't carry the game from like your typical early pressure and so on. But now basically we're normalized, right? I mean, we can just pretend it's basically season 11 at this point. But the Kindred is not focused on sequencing. And this is what it's going to look like if you don't. Because you need to. If you want to basically full clear and resequence your camps for the second crab, that's your best way to 6 early. But if you're looking to skirmish, get a lead, and cut off, you need to roam, you need to gank. It's going to be a little bit of a fiesta early, as junglers always try this kind of stuff. This is interesting. I would not be here in this exact location. This is a little bit of an int. But that's good. We like to int and then carry anyway, because we're all allowed those mistakes. 4 top lane, Bard is now roaming, Syndra's now pushing that, gets a play, goes back to base, or at least withdraws. Bard is copying the rotations, and Graves might stick around here to try and use the Herald to bust this open, which is what he's going to do. Alright. Kindred out of base, so it's definitely not clean. It's good. I like it. I like it when it's messy. I like it when it's messy. This is how we jungle in Season 12. This is the unrefined version of how we jungle in Season 12. It's like this every season. It's like this every season. I open up a replay, I'm like, watch this beautiful, smooth meta read. No one knows what to do exactly. No one knows exactly what the meta is, and it's very interesting. The early sort of things people try and limit test. This is standard though. If that whole stuff happens on top lane, I don't think you needed to do that, Mr. Galio. I don't think you needed to do that, but okay. This is standard. You know, all this action up top side, straight out of base, gank the lane, perfect. Make sure that you're doing that as always. And then you can reward yourself with the dragon. You can reward yourself with some camps. We see the Graves top side now again. So he's probably gonna go and start yeeting stuff here. So this is, we know he's in this area. So we have to pay very close attention to that, but it's a lot of fighting. Not a lot of nuance. The flay back there, okay. Kindred, I mean, how many times is a Kindred? Whoa, that was a good ult though. That was a good ult. We can get another one. We can get another one. There we go. Nice stun. Thank you very much, Syndra. And now we can take some TMs. This is big, early. Not as much now. I mean, it's always big now, but early on. If you can get those counter-jungling camps to deny level 6 spikes, it's absolutely huge. But my focus for you guys really would be, if you're going to do a 4-3 camp, I would love a good invade. Obviously, the Graves smited the Gromp, and it didn't go well level 1, but the intention is good, right? We don't want results-based it. The game plan was still solid. Just try different variants of those clears so make sure you're a bit faster to those things. A little bit of counter-jungling. That hasn't changed. I don't think we're going to get Funky Dragons this one. Okay, look, Thresh is not going on Syndra. What are we getting? Fire Dragon, yeah, so. Not interesting dragons in this game. More just showing you that a 4-camp invade, and I've seen multiple 4-camp invades today. Multiple 4-camp invades actually being somewhat playable now. Woo, beautiful. What are we at now? 8 marks. I haven't even been tracking the marks because no real need. We've covered that a lot on this channel. Take this. Look, mid lane. Camille is fighting Brad. Yasuo's brothers rotating down. Twisted Fate has the card of stuns. Yone decides to yeet in. Galio fears a little bit, or taunts, excuse me. I apologize profusely for that. And our Kindred is now setting a trap trying to kill the Graves. The Graves has the good item, which I still think should be removed and not allowed, and has not finished the mythic. So at this point, that's a bad fight. That's a very bad fight. If you have a lot of gold and you don't have your mythic, don't take the fight with the Graves, a strong jungler that does. Don't make a play that might result in that either. Okay? It's a lot about the jungle roots and the crab focus, but if you notice, I'm not really talking about the crab. It's because the first crab doesn't matter anymore. It's a little bit of juice. If you get 2, although if you get 2 with a 4 camp, you don't even get level 4. Yeah, you don't even get level 4, so. Basically, you have to look for ganks. Or invades. Nice rotation straight out of base though. Galio once more. Good Fiesta. Everyone's just running around. I love it. Preseason is fun for this reason, because now you really get to test bounties. Although we don't actually have any bounty activations. You see them on your map here. Look here. See this? This is the timer of it. So it'll let you know, okay, red team is ahead 2,500. We're going to activate bounties to the minimal level. Okay, so we should see something pop up. Here we go. There we go. So if blue team now takes this tower, they get some bonus cash monies. This tower, bonus cash monies, and this one. So if you're a good snowballing jungler, and this is here, this is the point. This will be timestamped. This is the point we talk about how to close against the stuff I talked about in the early game. Now you're wondering, well, what if I die and they take towers? Now that's the trick then, isn't it? The trick is to not allow this. And if you have a lead, you have objective control. Objectives will typically result in bounties as well. So first part of this video, very much heavily talking about the pressure, the fighting, the ganking, the invading, the roots, the importance of full sequencing your camps if you are that type of jungler. Kindred obviously is not. And now we're talking about, right, mid-game reached, bounties activation. How do we close? Firstly, as I just said, control the dragon, control the herald. Secondly, make sure your house is protected. Thirdly, sometimes you will have to give up a tower. You simply cannot afford to protect all towers all the time. But you... That hook though. You can afford to sort of try and bait out a bounty on the map that everyone sees, by the way, and punish them for it. That's something you can do very heavily as well. See, now look, the herald is spawned. Not only is it marked for Kindred, it's also a bounty. So if Kindred died here, and they lost a tower and they lost a herald, you're giving the blue team a way back into the game. So it's gonna really focus on, listen, if they make a great play, they get some gold as they should and deserve to do because they have a gold deficit. If they throw or make a mistake, then they get punished for it. So it's good. It's good. You know, you don't just get to freely win the game. And here, this is it. Bounty, gold. You see that? There we go. Of course you see that. But if we can prevent another one going down by taking the herald, great. So the goal isn't to deny all bounties. The goal is to deny as many as you can while still pushing your lead. So pushing the map concept takes another level. Great patience here, long fight. They're always going to lose a tower, but we get this. Ideally, we can control this as well. But I think if you've basically taken so much time off the clock, you're wasting the Herald. We have 1500. We got to spend. We got to spend. Now, he pushed this up a little bit, which is great. Okay. But I think out of base are going to run to it. But what it's going to mean in low elo? I think you guys are going to see a lot more of teams and laners who usually have no idea how to close games or no idea how to play from behind, suddenly have a bit more directed focus. So for high elo, where people should know this and sometimes they just don't, yes, it can be a little bit more annoying. But if you're in a lower elo game and your team have no idea how to come back, but suddenly Dragon spawns with a big yellow circle and says, hey, take me, then they might direct their focus very nicely, you know? And I think it's a way to learn. It's a way to learn also. Which is, there's nothing wrong with that, because pushing the map, closing games early, that's historically something that we usually make fun of 99% of the elos. They can't do that. Thank you, Kindred Ult, to protect, stun, finish off. And now the Kindred's just snowballing very nicely. Kindred obviously does this anyway. The champion does this anyway. Eventually will always come online, but I think we can agree a lot of those deaths were a little bit int. So if you're not really sort of pre-seasoning too much, you can avoid that and find yourself at 10-4-8. I think ideally, let's go with what do you think, 10-2-8? 10-2-8? I think this was good in concept. It didn't work out. And obviously, the Graves had a nice counter gank here because we didn't really know exactly where he was and was punished. But again, now, when you take this tower, you can feel the need to always fall back. Please push the map, push forward, push the waves forward. They're all dead. You have time. Take the Krugs. Deny as much as you can, because if something happens and they do get towers, if something happens and they do maybe get a dragon like they just did, if you deny them their camps very heavily, they're not getting a lot of individual income. So hopefully you understand what I mean. Really is going to reward those who know how to push and punish. And if you don't, and you lose because you didn't do anything, well, you deserve to lose. And I think that's something very important, because a lot of teams, especially, you know, we've all watched those 60-minute LCS games, like 9 combined kills back in the day. We want to avoid those things, you know? So if you're in a Clash game and you guys have a huge lead at 25 and you keep losing fights and you keep giving away bounties, rectify it. VOD review together. Ooh! Korean bards are just built right. They just know how to play the champion. Beautiful. But again, the Kindred flow is in. A little bit of messiness early, but obviously, as I said, on the main channel, a while back with the Graves video, or no, was it the Lee Sin one? Which one was it? It was a Snowballing one. But pretty much, yeah, it was a Talon one. Yeah, it was a Talon one. If you end up dying early or dying a lot early, but you get more kills and assists than you do deaths, you know, even if you're like 4-2-1, it's worth for you. You know, they do get a little bit of gold back, but it's worth for you because you get so much for yourself. And obviously that helps in these situations. Gallows going in now. Kindred basically here is said, my team, no, I don't want to do this. The team obviously has a huge lead. So this is great. This is great. And this is something I'm talking about a little bit more now. Because often and frequently, even though those are kind of the same thing, people always talk about losing lanes and how do I carry losing lanes. Yeah, well, sometimes you don't. Sometimes you do. And sometimes they end up making plays and you have to play around this. And if you're a split pusher, this is key. If you're a split pusher in these situations, this can obviously be fine. Now, if your team died here, this is fine. This is still an absolute fine play. Because even though Baron is available, pushing this forces them to have to deal with it. Pushing this forces them to have to deal with it. So they can't actually just run around and take objectives. Pushing the waves, pushing them up forward, all part of the same sort of logic. Kindred, in terms of itemization, we're 2,200. I do think we could have easily reset immediately. Take the top wave, push it in, take the jungle, reset, join your team as they respawn, and now run over. However, if there's a lot of dead people on the wrong side of the map focusing the Yone, swap to your Baron. This is the big bounty. Is that little ghost? It's a little ghost. It's a little ghost. Cute. Deny this. If an enemy steals this, it's even bigger. Oh. crew. So if you get to yeet a Baron steal when you're losing for a bounty, or a Drake as well. Was los jetzt? I'm just thinking about the bounties of all these steals and people are dying under Rapticam. Oh well. This is huge. Hopefully you can see by the Kindred's body language. Kindred I like for this because you don't always have to be permanently fighting in the mid to late game. You can always activate some split pushing. It's very huge. Very huge indeed. IE purchase with the Phantom Dancer, which I do like actually. Now they're gonna get this dragon, which again, bounty activation. This bounty amount goes up as we head into the late game, and the lead gets bigger and bigger. So now it's gonna force teams to try and find an objective bounty has been claimed. Oh, announcer's changed. It's gonna force teams to be able to fight over it. You know, even if they get it, fight over it, use your lead. You can't just give it up and then run away. That's why I like it in that sense. It's forcing the red team to be significantly more active than they otherwise might, and it's forcing the blue team to maybe take some risks. But if they get away with those risks, gold in its purest form. Yeah, messy game, but as always is the first game of new season, always messy. But I think there's a lot of educational value in this one. I didn't want to layer it too much with the dragons, with new items, with everything. I just wanted to keep the variables down here. Talk about the first clears pros and cons and shows you what happens when things work out, when they don't, and then show you also a little bit about pushing the map, talk about the macro, and talk about the effect bounties can have on the game. So that's 2 things checked off, and obviously we have a Kindred game. I will try and do a Rengar game as soon as I can. Best junglers, just FYI, will be out on Friday on the main channel. Yeah, nice old Galio Kindred's just obnoxious when you get ahead. So I'll look at the meta, look at the win rates, look at the data, do some testing myself, and we'll see which items and routes are really OP. I do think full clears is just standard, good stuff. But if you're playing an invading jungler, please use it. Snowball, get a lead. Yeah, it's not following people. I've had a lot of replay issues today. The Kindred is now the inhibitor. Yeah, pretty much sums it up. A lot of replays I opened that were actually interesting as well were just black screens, so I couldn't even use them. But there you go, a nice quick snack game for you. Snowballing in Season 12. Make sure you pay attention to those early routes. Try and deny bounties as much as you can, and as always, push the map, well, until the Nexus, basically. I'm wise. Thank you very much for watching. Please do like, share, and comment if you did enjoy. Match history, of course, will be linked in the description below. I'm gonna go eat. See you all in the next video.